Hi, good evening, everyone. Okay, um, okay. If anyone's been in my energy orbit for more than a couple of weeks, they'll inevitably hear the fact that I once met Steve Jobs, and he's kind of somebody in the business world I thought had a pretty amazing vision about things. But this is one of those Jobsian quotes that I think is amazing because he did a great job of keeping things simple. And simple can be harder than complex. I know that sounds like a contradiction. Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple. There's a lot of numbers when you look at something like compensation. I always like describe it that when you're talking to the coders, it's like they look at it like it's the matrix and there's numbers coming down. And when you throw like some idea out here, it deflects numbers and they go another way. And you have to kind of get into your flow state. And I take these very seriously because these are things that affect people's ability to make an income. And if you don't understand it, and there are people out there running companies that don't understand it, disclaimer, this is a first time run through, and this is for our wonderful NDA pioneers out there. So excuse our typos or syntax. Okay, our. When I say our, I mean mine. I probably have a few in there. Okay, the disclaimers also. Okay, no animals were harmed in the creation of this comp plan. By the way, competitors will look smaller tomorrow morning when you get up. Absolutely true. Side effects may include a little bit of excitement, at least for me. If you know comp plans, I'll tell you somebody like Mike or Betty or whatever, they're like, "Oh my gosh, what?" Feelings of joy and optimism are pretty normal. And tomorrow, you're going to hear anybody that sees this in the competitive realm will say that's impossible. Because when we talk about some of the things that we're doing, impossible is what competitors will say. They're lying to you. That's impossible. No, I'm going to put a word out there: possible. Not just possible, but it's absolutely true. Like this is verified with programming. Everybody knows me knows I hate the phrase you can't have your cake and eat it too, because I'm 58 years of age and I've had many birthdays, and every birthday I get a cake and I eat it too. So some of the things you're seeing in here, you're told by folks out there running companies that it's not possible. They're lying. It's absolutely possible. So let's start from a point of simplicity tonight and what we're doing going forward. I love this little phrase, keep it simple, the KISS system. Keep it simple, salesman. We'll stay positive tonight. Keep it simple. The Given the choice between complicated and simple, I grew up on a dirt road. Joe knows this. It's still a dirt road. The house that we grew up with in is on a dirt road. R1, Shelburne, Ontario, Canada. Dirt road. Okay, 1 mile from the closest blacktop. I prefer things simple, but at the end of the day, I'm still a capitalist, and I prefer, given the choice of not making money and making money, that I think making money is completely respectable. So, but you can do it by keeping things simple. So we're starting a few general rules that we have in the office. Everybody that walks through here knows we all prick a finger and make a blood oath that we're going to keep things simple. Another thing is that we pricked our fingers and made blood oaths not to mess with people's rice bowls. Now, what do I mean by that? This is something my father said, and he probably took from, I don't know, Covey or Zig Ziglar or something over the years. But my father would always say, when it comes to people that earn their money in sales and commissions, never mess with a man or a woman's rice bowl. And that rice is carried in a vessel, it's a bowl. You feed your family with this. And if the bowl changes or is compromised, it messes with your ability to feed a family. And so our goal out of the gates is the goal I've always had, and that is don't monkey with people's rice bowl. We want to have a comp plan that isn't going to be flavor of the month, and it's going to change every 30, 60, 90 days, or even like every year or 2 years or three. We want it the same. Transparency and accountability. We have chosen a type of compensation module, and you'll see it here as we get going, that is easy for you to see and keep honest people honest. Sometimes there are, let me just say it this way. I think it's funny. Joe dropped one today, and it was a wordsmithing game that somebody in a competing company was using as far as the way that they were. I will give you an analogy because it's the first thing that came to my mind. I am apologizing ahead of time that I have an irreverent sense of humor, and I happened to find a movie called Anchorman funny. But there's a dude in there at one scene, and he's got a cologne that he swears women love and drives the women nuts. It doesn't, but it's called Sex Panther. And here's the quote. It's called Sex Panther. It's made of bits of real panther, so you know it's good. And they've done studies, 60% of the time, it works every time. I think that is funny because I hear people out there saying, do you know that 50% of our every dollar spent goes into our comp plan, which pays 60% of every 50% of every dollar. I'm like, whoa, swallow the cat that ate the rat that lived in the house that Jack. Good Lord, take your family to safety. Ain't nobody making a check. So anyway, I'm just out in that kind of crap. I hate it. I just my thing. I just rant. And it comes down to this. I believe that the confused don't purchase. Also, I'm convinced thoroughly that the confused don't build big businesses. And I think the folks on the line here, you've proven that you are patient and have the tenacity to see something new and handle a little wet paint. We don't want to cause confusion out of the gate. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go forward here and we'll launch into OLIABO. And we call it Premio Pay, and we're saying the power of simplicity. Premio Pay is the name that we've given to our comp plan. And we said this: work where you want and earn what you deserve. And I think that that's a pretty reasonable expectation. Work where you want, earn what you deserve. And the power of simplicity is very, I think is very important. My brother Joe mentioned, and I didn't fix the slide deck, I talked about the statue of David in Florence, that it's one of my favorite pieces of art. I think really because of its simplicity. It's beautiful and it's sophisticated, but it tells the story of a dude that was, if you look at the statue, he was buck naked. I think he had clothes back in the day, but he goes into battle. A young boy goes into battle against a giant with nothing but a slingshot and a lot of ambition, and he slays a giant. And I think there's power in simplicity. So, folks, what you're going to see at the heart of it is simple, but it's powerful. And that seems like it's contrasting, but it's not. You can be powerful and have simplicity. So let's go forward here for a moment. I'm going to start with launching a few features of the comp plan. And for the folks on the line that understand direct selling in the world of nutritionals, these features are very important. I think features are less sexy than benefits, because the features we're about to see create checks and profitable businesses. The features are less sexy than putting money in your pocket, but it's still very important. And if you understand features, you'll understand benefits. I have drill bits here because, I Googled it today. On an average day in America, 5.75 million people buy drill bits. Right now, statistically speaking, the Home Depot is probably like one freeway exit away. Yeah. There's some dude walking in. Is it still open? Yeah. Some dude's walking into Home Depot looking for a 1/4-inch drill bit. And the irony is that guy is not looking for a 1/4-inch drill bit. That's the feature. He's actually wanting a 1/4-inch hole in his wall, probably to put in a towel rack or something. The feature is a drill bit. He's not really excited about the drill bit. He is excited to get his towel rack fixed, which is a hole. So we're going to talk about features here, the unique selling features of the Premio Pay comp plan. So let's start with feature number 1 for folks that understand a little bit about the industry and stuff that we've done in the past. The Premio Pay will have a weekly component so that you can put money in your pocket every week. It will have a monthly component so that you can put additional, bigger amounts of money many times in your pocket every month. But also, wait, there's more, a quarterly component. And I love this part because, in corporate America, we all get excited about having a Christmas bonus. Like, who doesn't want a Christmas bonus? But if you can have a bonus 4 times a year, a big bonus too, in many cases. I've had calls with people on the line here, and I'm not making this up. It's probably my favorite things to do in the past is we would Rochambeau for who gets to call somebody when they would hit a level in our comp plan in the past, because we knew that it was a life-changing amount of money. And I'm excited to make those calls again. And this comp plan can create those calls faster than anything I've ever seen. So 50% payout on every CV unit. Every unit of CV, commissionable volume, will have a 50% payout, 50% forced payout. So that's a way to keep honest people honest. I'll unpack that a little further as we go, but if we do our job right, we will spend a ridiculous amount of time talking about this unique selling feature going forward. For those folks on the line that are familiar with the way that happens, there'll be more discussions, but easy price points. A unique selling feature is easy price points. I've seen plans out there that require you to purchase ridiculous amounts of products. I was joking, like some of them should come with like tough sheds. Like, hey, you buy 1 month worth of product, we're going to send you a tough shed because you can have so much damn product it's going to be in your backyard. We're not doing that. We've seen those plans. Ray likes to say, my favorite Ray quote about this is like, I've been in companies where I bought so much product. There was so much product in the trunk of my car, my lights would shine in the trees at night. And I've stolen Ray's quote more than once because it's funny. Only somebody from the South can do that. The way that we were doing 50% on every CV unit is something called dynamic compression. It means there is no breakage in our company. And that is the dirty secret of an industry. I'm going to point out some vocabulary that appeared to have creeped back into our industry, and that is when you hear somebody say, oh yeah, you pay 50% payout, we pay up to 62% payout, or as much as 63%. Like as much as and up to means you don't pay that. That's what you theoretically could pay if the planets align and, my astrological star chart is aligned with, and it's not whatever. I don't actually understand astrology, so I don't want to sound stupid. I already sound stupid enough most of the time. Minimal CV split. This should make a few people smile on here. I've seen splits so wide right now, you could drive a Mack truck through them, and I think that's kind of crappy, and I'll explain that in a minute. Global bonus pool. This is a way that you can take a unilevel or a simple comp plan and create checks that are only possible historically with very big, complicated stair-step breakaways. And I'm very much a fan of those, but those days are gone. Nobody has time to figure out a stair-step breakaway. They started to get I built one. By the way, I'm a good salesman. I sponsored Ray into a stair-step breakaway. So, but their stair-step takeaway, it's the joke, right? Because somebody breaks away. So we're not that. There's a global bonus pool. It's the way that we can get big commission payouts from our unilevel. Also, there will be a secret applause. I'm fine. You've been murmuring behind my back for 20 years. There are minimal structure requirements. Yes, I am the guy that put the structure requirements in that last thing that we all did that got some of you in like hostage taking situations where people were like, you got to buy my product. And then, sorry. Anyway, you live and learn, okay? A lot of the stuff we're doing tonight that we're about to show you is data driven based on historical stuff that I've experienced and many people have. People like Adam Blake, he had to do something called toggling back in the day. Toggling. Adam, right now, I just said it and you just got diarrhea just hearing the word. So you don't have to worry about that, Adam.
Okay, Gordon, let me take this one. Let's do a little competitor analysis. Now, Nutriflop is not a real company, but some of the numbers that we're using here are some actual real world things that many of you are seeing out there with some of the products and companies that you're promoting. It's a sad state of affairs, but let's break it down. So in this scenario, let's say that with Nutriflop, you either buy or you sell $220 worth of product. Now, they're only going to give you 50% of that as commissionable volume. 50%. Crazy, but there's some splits happening like that out there. It's ridiculous. So then on that commissionable volume, they're only giving you a total payout of 33% on that. So the actual dollar value that's getting paid out in commissions through their structure on a $220 purchase or sale would be $36.30. That's crazy. So now let's look at a similar example with OLIABO's Premio Pay structure. So a $220 product purchase or sale, that's like two Primas, would have a commissionable volume of 200 CV with a total payout of 50% of that CV. So the actual dollar value in commissions on a $220 purchase or sale would be $100 in actual commissions that are being paid out. So a massive difference. If you look at that as like let's say it's paid out on like a 5% level in the comp plan, that would be like on Nutriflop's example, you'd make $3.63, but with Oliabo's Premio Pay, you'd make $10 on that same level. That's almost 3 times difference in the amount of money you're going to make for selling or purchasing the same amount of product. It's crazy, but we're seeing things like this out there in the industry today.
This is the weekly. You notice I said weekly, monthly, and quarterly. We're going to start with the weekly. This is out of the gates, the way that you can put money in your pocket on a weekly basis. Anybody you bring in as a customer to the company, if you have an active account, if you're a Pulse with an active account with OLIABO, you can get 25% override on all personally enrolled orders. So anybody you bring to the table, you get 25% on personally enrolled orders. So first orders, okay, out of the gates. Also, again, remember, incentives are what gets rewarded gets done. There's a reason to double down, and that is if you're getting not one but two Primas, or some of the other products you've been seeing on the slides over the weeks, that gives you a chance to get at 200 qualifying volume yourself to double down, which means you can make an additional 10% off of the folks on the second level of your sponsorship, if you will. Folks, if you don't understand this because it's a lot of new math, there are folks on the line, I can guarantee you can explain this part of it, okay? Now, I know before I get to the next slide, people are going to go, wait, we can do the math. You said 50%, buddy, and I'm not counting 50%. Hold your horses, okay? Seriously, hold your horses, all you Goldman Sachs former brokers, okay? It's coming. I'm not showing you everything. There is more stuff to come. And yes, we can do the math, but there's still a few surprises we want to launch. I tell Ray every once in a while, I'm like, Ray, let me surprise you about a few things, okay? The way that things are coming. So monthly, we are calling these baselines. So the first level, the weeklies, we call sprints. I like it because in Italian, sprint, same word, a sprint. They have like words in Italian that are just English words. Like this is smartphone. It's the same word, smartphone, a computer, a sprint, same thing. Baseline, I think we got a problem. I think it's going to be basaline. But anyway, baseline is your monthly commissions. So this is what's paid monthly. And folks that are in my previous energy orbit, I gave you some cheats here, all right? Kappa in Italian just simply means K. The letter K doesn't actually exist in the Italian alphabet, but it exists in the greater world of marketing. So Italians have the letter K. It doesn't appear when you go to school, but it appears in daily marketing, right? Kappa is K. So 1K, quinto, I'm just doing a little quick math thing. Quinto, like in quintet, it's 5K, thousands, if you will. Venti, Venti is 20K. These are volume requirements. But also, if you go to Starbucks and you get like, there's small, medium, large, and then they got the Venti, and you're like, the heck is Venti? And I kept thinking, that's not a word in Italian. And I'm like, oh, it is. It's the number 20. Because Howard Schultz, when he came back from Italy, he created something that doesn't exist in Italy, and that is the ginormous long-haul truck driving cup of coffee that we like only in the United States. And it's 20 ounces, so he called it a Venti. And then we have Premio, which is, oh, look, you got like a little regal color scheme there. So let me go through some of the quick numbers on this one. If you are a Pulse and an account with us, anywhere between 0 and 99 QV, you are eligible for 5% monthly commissions on anybody that is buying on a monthly basis. If you're a Brava rep, then the difference is that you're ordering at least a Prima every month at 100 QV. You're qualifying for 2 levels, 5.5. But if you do something as simple as have 3 personally sponsored folks, representatives, and have 3 legs of 100 PV, and anywhere in your organization have 1,000 group volume, you're qualifying already out of the gates for 20%. That's 5, 5, 10. That's not a typographical error, folks. That's 5%, 5%, 10%. I think some comp plans these days are a little bit like third world countries. There's no middle class, and I think that's a little bit appalling. So I'd like to reintroduce the middle class back to the world of network marketing, where people can make checks every month, not having to be the next Dexter Yeager, or I should probably use Ray Hammond, Dexter Yeager, Amway circa 1950s guy. But okay, folks, I'm not going to go through all of the minutia tonight, but if you look here, these are basic requirements here. The Quinto is not outrageous. There's no structure requirements like historically. I used to have a comp plan that had similarities to this, that was every single person had to have a structure to their organization within each of these legs. We now have 3 siloed legs to get to Quinto or 5K. So if you have anywhere in your organization 5,000 in monthly organizational qualifying volume, and 3 legs, each doing 1,000. There's no structure requirements in those legs, folks. That's not a typographical error. I'm going to show you a little graphic detail about this. Let you snapshot. Why don't I do this? And you'll see the red jumps to a different, Premio jumps to a different category. That's you qualify for the global bonuses. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But let me walk you through a little worksheet. The basic building block of the OLIABO comp plan is me plus 3. You know, if you're watching these calls every week where we're talking about olive oil, you're probably thinking, man, I could really benefit from this. But I know my aunt, Brenda could use this, and my friend on my street that's always complaining about his arthritis, and this dude over here that's like this. Me plus 3 can build you a beautiful business with OLIABO. Not 300. We've been in those plans, me plus 3. So starting out, very simple, keeping it simple. 3 things required to get to Kappa. And that is 1, first and foremost, you are personally purchasing 100 qualifying volume a month for yourself. Number 2, you have 3 people who have also made the same commitment of also getting 100 qualifying volume a month. And then somewhere in your organization, 1,000 group qualifying volume. That's it. Basta punto. And you're already qualified for 3 levels of pay for 20% in the comp plan. You see how fast that happened? Just like bada bing, bada boom. Okay, so I had in my previous life, there's a couple people knocked off a comp plan. It's something that I worked on with Zango. And I would hear this like, we knocked off Zango's comp plan and it didn't work. I'm like, we didn't put dynamic compression in it, you moron. Like, honestly, that's like the je ne sais quoi, or you had no global bonus. You can't just bit and part it. You have to do the whole thing. This thing has been put together like a tapestry. It's been woven. Okay.
I think that's one of the big challenges is that people, because the technology is a little bit more available and product development is easier because of manufacturing. Almost anybody off the street can throw up a company in the network marketing space, but it doesn't mean they have any actual knowledge or understanding of how to build a content,
Exactly.
how to build a community, how to do all these things we're talking about.
Exactly. Okay. When you get, Curtis, you know this, you're talking to somebody who claims to have an expertise about something, and you can tell that they're Googling it or chat GPTing it, and they get the email voice, right? They're like, Curtis, I think that makes a lot of sense because historically I'm like, dude, stop reading the freaking Google. You can't build a company just Googling a comp plan. Like anyway, 3 levels right here. So that's the first level really in the unilevel, for lack of a better description. It's even very different than a unilevel in some respects, but Quinto, okay? So this is what I've also given the code speak of 5K, this level. Quinto, 3 things, not 30, not 300, 3 things to become a Quinto. First and foremost, you have to purchase 100 QV, 1 Prima, done, basta, okay? 5,000 in group purchase volume or group qualifying volume somewhere in your organization, and 3 people like you who have committed to 100 personal volume themselves, and each one of those has 1,000 group qualifying volume. And I know all the folks out there, they're like whispering, wait a second, what's the structure required below that person? None structure. It's just like a silo, like this. And I know you're like, well, what happens if the person at the top of that thing decides to move to Bolivia and suddenly have 3 people rolling up to that? But it's bundled. It's a bundle. Curtis has got in charge of bundling stuff like that. Don't worry about it. That's what the robots do. They're going to take over anyway. We might as well trust them with a few things, right? So at Quinto, you are now qualified for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels of compensation. That's 5, 5, 10, 5, 5. So I want to point out all those gray levels because that's important going forward. I'm going to explain a little bit about something called dynamic compression that apparently in the last 10 years, people forgot how to explain. So it's very important because theoretically, when you hear about breakage, let's look at this. I'm going to start with this example. I'm going to loop back to it in a few slides. Theoretically, a Quinto could be qualified for 8 levels of pay, but they're actually not based on the way that they've built so far. They're only qualified for 5. So there's 5, 5, 5. Those levels right there are gray because that quinto is not qualified to get them. But many times they exist. It's not unusual for somebody like that to have an organization that goes 20 levels, just because they sponsor somebody like Ray on the line, and suddenly those people take off. So what happens to those levels? Well, that's where you get this dirty secret of breakage. Companies are happy to put that in their pocket. I don't know if you know this or not, but if you don't do your tax returns right and the government owes you money, they won't give it to you. I don't know if you know that. It's just a funny thing. Unless you tell them, give me my money back, they won't give it back to you. They'll gladly keep it, right? Good. Understands the way the government works. When I get my own planet, I'll fix it. But at the moment, this is the way an average comp plan works in an average company. They say you can earn as much as 8 levels. But if you're only qualified for 5 and you have a 20 level organization, what happens to those 3 levels? It goes in the pocket of the corporation. I'm not anti-corporation. I happen to be, unfortunately, the CEO of one. Curtis is the president of one. All of you are talking to people that are in one. But I want to keep honest people honest. We make better decisions if we're not betting against if we're not betting against the field. You want success in the field. I want everybody to.
Yeah.
Yep. Because you bet against the field. You bet against your salespeople if you have breakage in your plan. So, Venti, next level. That's a 20K in a previous life. What are the 3 things required to be Venti? Not 30, not 300 things, 3 things, okay? First and foremost, we have now, your big boy pants are on now because you got 20,000 in group purchase volume or group organizational volume. So, we're going to ask you to buy 200 qualifying volume yourself personally. We're going to ask you to find still 3 people that have 100 qualifying volume each, okay, with 5,000 in group. But we're going to ask you to get another guy. Well, it's the new guy. It's Shemp. It's the new person. The new dude that doesn't know much. He's just coming in because he's excited. We're going to get you to have one of him. So you're going to have 4 personally sponsored folks. They look like that. 3 are siloed with organizational volume and 1 in. 1 isn't. He's the satellite orphan that's just learning. You're hoping through osmosis he's going to figure things out. But 3 things. 200 qualifying volume yourself. Second, you have 4 people personally sponsored. 3 have organizational volume. And third, you're going to have somewhere in your organization 20,000 in group qualifying volume. You now qualify for 7 levels of depth. So look at this. We are now maxed out on the uni level, which pays 8 levels. I know in a previous life it paid 9, but I have the benefit of math and hindsight. And all of this, trust me, pays very, very, very big. So premio. I know it sounds like another word from our past. Premio. It just means kind of awesome gift in Italian. 200 qualifying volume yourself. 3 people doing, it's actually 2,000, 20,000 each in group volume with a $200 commitment or 200 qualifying volume commitment. The third one is a $100 qualifying commitment with 5,000 in group because it's never exact anymore. At this point, you've got an organization that's doing their own dang thing. They're running off doing their own thing. You got politics at this point in your organization. It's okay. You can handle it. You're big people by this point. You got a little politics, some egos, but you're going to have the requirement of 5 personally sponsored folks. 2 of them are the new folks. They got the new guy smell. And then you have 3 legs that you're building out, and that will qualify you for 8 levels of volume. 5, 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. And you're like, wait, you said I paid 50%. You're behind on your big mouth promises, and you're not even out of the first day of training your comp plan. But that's where the global bonus comes in. That's where we make the big money, okay? This is something this goes back to a challenge thrown down to me by a guy named Ray Heron many, many years ago in a little adventure we called Sterling Health. He was the #1 check, and he pretty much maxed out how much he could make. And he's like, Gordon, my boy, if you could ever figure out how to make a unilevel pay like a stair-step breakaway. And I was like, I'll take that challenge. So one of the ways that we have done this is through something called a global bonus. So you may not know anybody in South Africa, and you may never sponsor anyone in South Africa, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have some business in South Africa at some point in the future. And it'd be nice that people in South Africa had the ability to make a little global bonus off somebody in the US of A or Canada or Philippines or Australia or wherever the case may be. 5% of every PV, all the PV goes into something called a global bonus that stays in a suspense account that's earmarked. It's sacred funds. I thankfully I had enough of smarts, me and myself, Joe, and my partners, that I never missed a weekly, a monthly, or a quarterly in all the years that I ran Zango, and I'm very proud of that. Right? I can tell you, I lack sophistication, but I do like people to be paid properly and on time. And these global bonuses are really, really fun to get. And you will be getting a pro rata share of the global bonus based on your group purchase volume. Now, I'm not going to get into that tonight because I'm 58 and the seasons will change very shortly here. I've got deadlines to make. But we will be talking about how the pro rata works. Well, 5% is not 1, but 2% more than some of the folks on the line were used to. So I can tell you're going to say something.
Yeah, no, we'll get into more details as time goes on, not in this presentation, but I want you to recognize what's happening here. The way that this is put together, there's the weekly, the monthly, the quarterly opportunities, but there's alignment with the company and with your business efforts. Right, we're eliminating breakage and other things and incentives for the company to do the wrong thing. No, we want to be aligned with you, but we also want you to be aligned with each other, not just in your direct organization, but this global bonus aligns everybody across the whole organization because everyone can benefit from everybody else's efforts. And so we're aligned all across the board. The company, all of you, this plan is going to blow the doors off.
Oh, amen, Curtis. And by the way, Curtis, Curtis is in every one of these comp plan programming meetings that I have twice a week. He probably enjoys it more than I do. It's the mechanics of the comp plan. I'm Mr. Dynamics. When I want it to behave this way, and then the mechanics are, how do we program it? That part of it I'm not very good at, okay? I'll just point out, I don't even like these, okay, let alone electronic code. But we got this bugger down pat, guys. I'm not kidding. This thing's it's gonna make money. And there is nothing wrong with that. I see that people will regularly throw crap at capitalism, saying, it's the unequal distribution of wealth. But the opposite of that is the equal distribution of misery. And that is no fun, guys. The equal distribution of mediocrity is not what gets me excited every day. I'm here to tell you that the thing that this comp plan will do, and I'm very proud of this, is, okay, folks, we'll put it this way. I love the fact that we have a government that takes care of infrastructure and roads, and when my house catches fire, someone will put it out. But governments historically create deficits and salespeople create surpluses. That is the heart of the free enterprise system. And I think those salespeople should deserve a pat on the back. And I think that this is a way to do it. And you'll see going forward. Just take my word for it. Freeze this moment. Folks, I started this Premio Pay by saying we want people to work where they want and earn what they deserve. But I'm taking it a step further. Folks, I'm challenging all of us if we want to do this, you can work where you want, you can work when you want, you can work with whoever you want, and you can earn what you deserve through our Premio Pay plan. And you know why? Because it's your red, white, and blue right, by the way. And if you notice, the way that we start our presentations we talk about Italian authenticity meets American ingenuity. And I love my beautiful Italian roots, and they have elevated food, I would probably say, on the planet. They are the #1 country on the planet to elevate food to the top of where it should be in the hierarchy of importance. But if we're really good at one thing in America, is that we can do business. And we actually are that. I have to say, folks, the world looks to us, and I say us now because I've been an American since 2003, and I'm very proud of that, and I love my home country of Canada. But America does one thing really well, and that is we do business really well. And history has proven that this is the land of opportunity, and I want the world, again, to plug into that optimism that is the American spirit. It definitely sucked me in. Like I left my home country of Canada when I was 19 and went to school in the States, and I love it here. So, folks, this is one of those things where I'm sorry if you're calling in from another country. This is the part where I do that little thing that people go, "Is that fake? America really like that? Really, people that into it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, take my word for it. The patriotism is a very real thing here." So, let me see. I'm going to do one last thing here, folks. I am going to do my best to do a very short, quick capsule summary, and this is far from perfect. I'm only going to give a short example of what dynamic compression does. And I'll do this. Adam, my brother, thank you so much for creating this slide. So what Adam has so nicely done is he's created this, because I can't do it on a whiteboard because you folks aren't going to see it. I will explode this into better detail. But this was like, I think, a taunting challenge from Ray yesterday. Will you do some dynamic compression discussion to get us going? Ray, we will do a way better job going forward on this one. But Adam, thank you for throwing this together. Let me give you an example of what happens. You have to think upside down for this scenario to give you, I'm going to start to salt your mind as to why I can make the claim, we can make the claim, the computers guys can make the claim, and you as distributor leaders, if you choose to embrace this, can make the claim that we will be paying out 50 cents on every commissionable volume unit. And that is, or 50%, sorry. Take a look. Imagine in reverse that there's somebody down in your organization that is triggering a sale. And you have to go backwards on this one. On your level one, you have a rep. And okay, all right, easy. That rep is making 5%. Okay, now you are a new 100. There's a new 100 CD person. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to click through this and imagine, okay, that if the person on the second level here is a rep, that means they're not qualified for a second level. You're for a second level of purchase on this one, right? So 0 is paid out, 0 levels fulfilled. Well, that's breakage to a normal comp plan. But wait, we don't do that. We keep searching. Wait a second, there's a Brava rep in the upline here. That Brava rep is actually qualified for second level pay. That person gets a bonus of a 5% payout. Wait, there's another Brava rep above that. Oh, they're not qualified. That breakage would normally go to a company, but not us. We keep looking upline. We fulfill third level here by finding a kappa in the upline. There's another percentage payout. Level 3 fulfilled. By the way, we are now at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels, but we are now fulfilling the third level of pay. Can you imagine how much breakage that we could be putting in our pockets as a corporation? This is those shows that used to have on Fox that when magicians reveal their tricks and everybody, all the magicians guilds are like, boo, we hate Magisto or whatever his name is, because he's telling people how they saw a lady in half. We don't really saw a lady in half. No, duh. Okay. And in comp plans and the corporations, they don't like me talking about breakage because I'm telling you, all the companies out there are doing it, and it doesn't mean it's right. So level 3 fulfilled in this case on the 5th. Okay, go up again, kappa. Okay, that person is not qualified, right? But we don't pay it to the company. We just keep looking. Wait a second. Now we got a quinto up there, so we can fulfill level 4, 5% payout, and we go up. Level 4 fulfilled for the quinto above it. So now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 levels right there. And we had to search up to get 8 levels to fulfill 4. Keep going and keep going, keep going up to 8 levels. Folks, it's not going to be unheard of in a very short amount of time that there's people on this call. They're going to have an organization that has 50 levels deep, 100 levels deep. Well, all of those little lines of sponsorship start to add up to a lot of black holes of breakage for a company. And I don't want to be one of those companies that's betting against the field not succeeding. So this is just a way to keep honest people honest. You know, Joe and I are a couple country boys, and most of us in this organization have rural roots. If you get a chance to listen to our we say general counsel, you can't tell on our slide deck from his name, Jeff Warwick, but he's from Louisiana. He sounds more like Ray than he sounds like Curtis and I. Curtis got rural roots in his grandfather just lived up the road from here. I had a freaking outhouse. So Ashley says she's from California, but she's from the part of California where they still farm. It's Nowheresville, California. I'm kind of proud of that. But what I'm saying is you don't want us in a position where we are forced to bet against the breakage, right? The robots take care of it. I'm making that commitment out of the gates. This is the best one to end with. So anyway, that's it. You guys are the best, really. You have been so patient over the weeks to get to this point. There is definite rewards to being an early adopter in most areas of business. I would like to think this is no exception. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for hanging with us on a Thursday night.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of it for tonight. And we will do our regularly scheduled Tuesday presentation on the regular stuff next week. And then we'll continue to refine the comp plan pleasant. Man, I can't even talk. The comp plan presentation and get some more info out there as we go. But we really appreciate your time, your attention. We hope you're excited. We're excited, and we hope you'll join us on this journey. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to say anything else? You want to let Ray?
I think we're good. Ray, are you? I'm not sure if Ray's. Oh, I see. Do I see Ray? I see the icon. Hey, Ray. Hello.
Hey, brother, how are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
You seem a bit excited.
Well, I had a taco. My energy came. He talked to me an hour and a half ago. I was a little bit grouchy, full disclosure, but Anyway, how are things in Suttons Bay?
Things are wonderful. Beautiful evening in northern Michigan. Good evening, everybody. Dang, I'm excited. I really am. I see a lot of my friends here tonight, very talented friends. And I want to tell you, I'm so excited about OLIABO, but I'm really excited for you, excited about you, excited for you. We we all have a history that we can look back on and remember the good old days. Well, the good old days are going to be a whole lot better. I tell you, Gordon, great job of streamlining this compensation plan. We talked about volume qualifications in the beginning and try to be as simple as you can. You've done a masterful job of putting it together. And folks, I hope you realize you may have to, hopefully you took some screenshots here tonight. I don't know how much of this will be shared out there with us, but hopefully you took some screenshots and you're going to take some time to kind of take a look at this. And if you do some comparisons, and please don't feel like I'm not including some of you that maybe weren't part of Zango, but a lot of these folks were. And you'll have some comparisons. Go take a look, and you're gonna realize you're gonna be able to build a business probably about 10 times faster with the OLIABO compensation plan. Really, really excited about it. Excited for our future. I've said this before. I want to say it again. It's really the very first time that I've had the opportunity in a 40-year career to realize the outcome of this particular venture in advance. I know where this one's going to go. You can hang up right now and say that guy's nuts, but I promise you, in the future, you know, I know these guys are branding experts. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They have a lot of business acumen. They understand this industry. They were raised in this industry. They were picking and packing and shipping nutritional products when they were like 8 and 9 years old. And people love these guys all over the world. I love them completely. They've been my friends for about 35 years. I don't have to second guess what they're going to do. I mean, they don't have to talk about things like integrity. They just live it every day. And to make the statement that you intend to pay the field at the level that you're talking about, you're actually disrespecting most of these companies that we've all been familiar with. Lots of breakage go on in these compensation plans. Sometimes we build a business so big we don't realize the breakage is even there. But here's what I know, that quarterly bonus, for those of you listening to me tonight, you build a solid business. You don't have to build the biggest business in the country. Just build a good, solid business, and 4 times a year, I promise you, you'll get a great surprise. I mean, some of us can recall. I'm not making income claims. You got to work to earn. That's just part of life in anything that we do. But many of us experienced quarterly bonuses in the 6 figures, not even counting the monthly override checks that we're receiving. Folks, don't miss this one. You get one chance only to be there before they turn the switch on. We're already here. I want to encourage you, build your business on paper before they even hit the switch. Some of you are already doing that. I talk to you on a daily basis, and very, very proud of you. I'm talking to people that I haven't talked to in a lot of years, and it's exciting for me. and it touches my heart. I trust these guys, as I said, I trust them completely. I know what they're going to do. Don't have to second guess them. All that we have to do is do the very things that we already know that we need to do, and we'll be wildly successful. And the whole world is going to learn about OLIABO. I believe this. I've looked at the research. The research would suggest that there is no way that you cannot realize probably some of the best health you've ever enjoyed. I've had the good fortune of being on 1 week supply. That's all. If you don't have your product, don't blame me. It's kind of a tough challenge for these guys to get some samples out. And some of you, I know you're still waiting. It's coming. But I had 1 week on the Prima product, and it actually, it's not the complete product. It's a major part of it. Had one of the best weeks of my life. So just count on it. You're going to love this product. And so knowing that we're going to have that type of product, it's going to be the go-to. It's going to be the very thing when you reach in that pile of supplements. It's going to be the first one that you take probably every morning of your life. We're going to share that good news, share our good results with people all over the world. And we are going to be, write it down, say you heard it here. We're going to be one of the largest network marketing companies this industry has ever seen. So please, please take it very seriously and be ready when they hit the switch. And look at those. I like that term, silos. Build yourself some silos on paper. And when we hit the switch, we'll break some records the first 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months, 1 year. Going to be exciting, folks. I'm so thrilled to be working with you. I'm your #1 fan. Most of you know me. And we've talked personally. We've traveled the world together. I'm looking forward to it again. You can count on me to always be there for you. Losing my
You're the
voice here.
best.
I could get a little bit excited, as you might tell. Uh, Folks, we really are. We're here. We're here right now. It's the time to give it everything we got. I'll say it once again. I was personally mentored by a famous man by the name of Jim Rohn, who taught me 40 years ago, Ray, find the right network marketing opportunity at the right time. Build your business as if your life was hanging in the balance for 90 days. It could, magic word, set you up financially for the rest of your life. I've used that formula 4 different times, and it took this old poor country boy from Oklahoma from poverty to fortune. And I know with an opportunity like this one, it can do the same for you. So once again, don't miss it. I'm so glad you're here, and we'll look forward to getting together really soon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ray. You guys may be happy, healthy, safe, and at peace. And we'll talk to you probably tomorrow, most of you. But anyway, thanks. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone. And just because I'm that guy, remember, we're still in the NDA period, so be very, very conscious of how you're sharing or talking about this information outside of anybody that has not signed the NDA. But thanks again so much for your time.
Thanks,
and for your
everyone.
attention. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Cheers. Thanks.
Bye.